Welcome back to my podcast. We are on episode 70, and today I'll tell you more about the boys and girls that I came across at Ruia. Some my friends, some not my friends. Last time I told you about how I felt when Priya told me that she did not want to invite me to her place. Up until that point, I'd never faced rejection. Not like that, at least. Mom constantly saying she wanted male offspring was interspersed with tremendous acts of love in between. Her behavior was almost bipolar, merciless violence and verbal abuse followed by repentance and excessive displays of love. So that did not count. I'd always gotten along with my peers. The one time I experienced rejection in high school was from my pen pal, the one from England, whose letters and pics I kept for years before discarding them. But she was far away and didn't really know me. She had judged me based on the quality of paper I had used to write the letter, so that was superficial. I thought of myself as a good, kind, selfless, spiritual person, all the qualities we had been taught to value and which were inculcated in us constantly through stories and lore and mythology, the life of Buddha and all his previous avatars, the Jataka tales and our religious teachings. And I tried so hard to be the best version of myself because I didn't have the most important thing that parents, teachers and peers valued: intelligence. I couldn't score great marks, nor was I great at sports. Sure, my marks improved after I took iron supplements and I even started getting some medals in sports. But what I felt I could control was how I behaved, how kind I was. So I inculcated all the traits within myself that I considered positive. So I couldn't fathom why some peers were mean or why they rejected me. As a people pleaser with low self-esteem, this would absolutely devastate me, and I would keep dwelling on why so and so did not like me. I had gotten to know a group of 3 Malyali girls in my batch: Blossom, Jilly and Kavita. Kavita and Jilly lived in Ghatkopar, Blossom lived in Vikhroli East. I thought Blossom and I were close friends. She had invited me to her place for Christmas. She had painstakingly made a very warm and sweet and beautiful birthday card for my 16th birthday. Then one day, out of the blue, her behavior changed. Blossom, Kavita and I were walking towards Matunga station after college, and Blossom and Kavita just quickened their pace and walked ahead, completely ignoring me. I registered what had just happened and felt my heart sink. I felt my blood turn to water. I felt my spirit just wilt. After that, the 3 of them just ignored me. Jilly, Kavita and Blossom. And I was too hurt to ask them what happened. They treated me so shabbily and for no reason. There was nothing that happened just before that to trigger that behavior. Years later, when I was in my 20s, I happened to come across Blossom and we started talking. I asked her later what had happened all those years ago. She gave an evasive answer, saying we were both very different back then. I did not understand what that was supposed to mean. More recently, I asked her about it again, and she had no idea what I was talking about. She had completely forgotten the incident that had traumatized me. I still have that 16th birthday card among my keepsakes. It was that good. I shared the picture with her recently, and she replied with a heart emoji and spoke about how far we have come in life from that time of innocence. Truly, that time seems like a different lifetime now, considering what all has happened in between. When I was still in high school, a Tamilian girl called Hema Subramaniam moved to our township, and we became friends. She lived in the bungalows, meaning her dad was more senior. He joined as a consultant, and that's why she was not given admission in the school, because he was technically not an employee. She was one batch junior to me. Her other friends were all her batchmates. She joined Ruia College for her 11th standard and got to know some of the people that I knew over there. One day, Hema kept asking me if I was attending college the next day. I kept saying yes, but then the next day I didn't go. I got to know that there were going to be no real classes, kids were not going to attend, so I just skipped. In the evening, Hema called up at the neighbor's house. The neighbor being Nancy auntie. At the time, we had to wait years to get a telephone connection. So we would give people our neighbors' numbers as a care-off number, and then the neighbors would come and call us to take the phone call. So Hema called up and asked why I hadn't attended college that day. I just told her that I had not felt like going since nobody else was going to attend lectures, so what was the point? "Well, I'm coming over to your place," she said. I wondered why she wanted to come over. Hema arrived with a huge bouquet of red roses, some gifts, and some cards. I had not realized that it was Valentine's Day. Hema asked me to step outside and explained that Nitin Shetty had intended to propose to me that day. That is why he had asked Hema to check if I would attend college the next day. I guess he would have dressed up and prepared for the day. And then I wasn't there. I was very surprised to see all the cards and gifts and roses. I hadn't expected it in the least. Not at all. I guess that had to do with how Nitin had communicated. Over the course of the time when we would hang out as a group, he mentioned one day that his mom would never ever accept a love marriage. That was his way of saying that a romance would mean a difficult road ahead. So basically in India at the time, people dated with the intention of getting married. So when a guy kind of liked a girl and he proposed to her to make her his girlfriend, the intention usually was that this would lead to getting engaged and getting married, which is not the case nowadays. So I kind of had to explain. What I had understood from the sentence that Nitin had said, that his mom would never approve of a love marriage, was that this was never going to happen or this was never going to work. In my mind, he was letting me down gently and trying not to embarrass me while subtly rejecting me. That one sentence that he had said, after all our flirtatious looks, our conversations, sitting together, smiling to each other, after all of that, when he said that his mom would never approve of a love marriage, my mind interpreted it as Nitin saying, "Don't bother with this. We are not going further with this." So I mentally started tuning out of Nitin. In my mind, he had said that there was no future for us. And now here was his grand gesture, this Valentine's Day extravaganza. But I had actively worked on mentally turning down my feelings for Nitin. Now, looking at all this, I felt nothing. In fact, I felt weird. I was over Nitin. I was done with him now. The attraction had run its course, or at least I had shut down that channel. This was pointless now. I just felt a weird discomfort, like I wanted to get away from this situation. Later, I had to switch colleges because I found out that Ruia College did not offer psychology as a graduation subject. The girl who had told me that Ruia offered psychology, my older sister's best friend, had neglected to mention this crucial piece of information, that you could not graduate with psychology from Ruia. If I had known beforehand, I'd have straight away applied to a college that offered psychology for all 5 years and allowed you to graduate with that subject. I didn't need this added stress of finding new friends and fit into a new place after 2 years of junior college. Hema was also studying psychology and switched to Sophia after I did. We also did other activities together. We hung out in the evenings together at Hillside, gushing about Maine Pyar Kiya, which was a movie released around that time. And I attended her birthday party. She attended mine. Then one day I watched a movie called Khiladi. I mentioned to Hema that it was good. I had liked it. She wanted to see it too, and I told her I didn't mind watching it again with her. At this time, we were in Sophia College. I think I was in my second year of senior college. So Hema and I went to watch Khiladi again. Again for me and the first time for her. By this time, the movie had been running in theatres for a few weeks and the theatre was empty or nearly empty. Hema and I took our seats, started watching the movie. Hema held my hand and I barely noticed. Actually, that wouldn't be the most honest truth. The fact is that by the time I was a teen, I was convinced that everyone around me was smarter, better, or wiser. Just like a person who grew up, loved, and nurtured has in their background a constant sense of confidence and knowing that they're supported. It's not a conscious thought, it's a knowing. My feeling of being a doormat and letting others lead and thinking that they know more than me, they were better than me, was just a humming in the background. It was a knowing that I had and accepted. For instance, when you're in love, the joy, the high of being in love, it's constantly there. The feeling is constantly there, not in the foreground, but you feel it every second of whatever you're doing. It's just there. Your eyes sparkle brighter, your skin radiates and glows, you are light on your feet, but you're not thinking about being in love, not actively thinking about it or about the person you love. The knowing is just a constant hum in the background. Similarly, I was at a phase in my life where I just accepted that I was not too bright and I was clumsy and others knew more and better than me. I would let others lead me. Add to it all the stories of Buddha, Rama, Gandhi that I grew up with, just urging one to shed the ego, stay humble. Add to it mom being extremely domineering and Ruby also kind of being quite a strong person and kind of bullying me. And Molly also used to bully me. So the younger sister also bullied me. She used to mercilessly tease me about my nose, making me think like I was so ugly. So, and you have the recipe for disaster. A person who did not even grasp the concept of standing up for oneself or having a voice or trusting one's thoughts. So, with this attitude as my constant hum in the background, I sat there with Hema in the movie theatre, holding hands with her that she initiated. I thought of it as normal friend behavior. As we watched the movie, Hema started kissing my hand. I still thought this was normal behavior. As the movie progressed, Hema kept kissing my hand. It stands out as starkly in my memory as the dentist's experience. It was arousing and erotic. My body was responding to the kisses. I didn't know if it was because I'd never been touched romantically yet as a 19-year-old. But what I know for sure was that I was not attracted to Hema at all. Nor did I realize that she had a crush on me. Even when she said things like, "You look so perfect, you could be a model," except for your nose, of course. So here we were in a trance, Hema kissing my hand and me experiencing sexual pleasure that can only come from the touch of another. When our trance was abruptly broken, I felt another hand on me. Startled, I turned around briskly. A man, a creepy looking man, was in the seat behind and had snaked his hand to my boob. Hema and I were horrified as we stared at the man in disbelief. He slinked away. I don't know if he was a theatre employee who saw us and thought he could join the action, or if he was another member of the audience there to watch the movie. I can't remember whether we watched the rest of the movie or not. The hand kissing was never mentioned again. Neither of us acknowledged it. Later, Hema and I joined a tailoring class together. She probably joined to be able to spend time with me. I'm not sure. But it was a low quality class with appalling bigotry. The batch before ours was a boys' batch. The boys' batch was 12 pm to 1 pm and ours was 1 pm to 2 pm. Now remember, this was the time before Google and reviews. So we just joined the class that we kind of found out about, that we saw in a newspaper ad or something, or that you could see from Ghatkopar station. Probably you could see their board from Ghatkopar station. So we would take a bus or train to Ghatkopar. Then when the boys left at 1 pm, the teacher would open her tiffin box and start having lunch while the girls waited. When I protested one day that her lunchtime was eating into our time, class time, the teacher said that her boss had not scheduled a lunch break for her, so what could she do? And that she had acidity and of course she had to eat. And I would watch as she weirdly hit her fists on her chest to apparently relieve her acidity. Then around 1:20 pm our class would start. Later, Hema went abroad to study. One day she was back for break and I went up to her to say hello. I was so happy to see her. But she had a different attitude. She exuded the attitude of someone who found themselves forced to interact with someone that they do not want to interact with. As though she really wanted to avoid me. Oh. As soon as I sensed that, I said goodbye and left. I'd never dream of imposing on anyone. I weirdly had this pride meshed with my low self-esteem. I don't understand this, but there it was. Too humble yet too proud. And that was the last I saw of Hema. I guess she got over her crush on me and then just felt uncomfortable around me. Back to Ruia and junior college. For a short while, I was friends with a girl called Winona. She had a crush on a guy called Benny. But I'll tell you more about that next time. Till then, stay healthy, stay happy. Bye for now.